Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today is an extraordinary show. And let me tell you, because I know you heard me say that numerous times throughout the show, because every show is extraordinary. But this one is really extraordinary because we're talking to a young lady who has set so many expectations for herself, and not only set these expectations, but manifest them, and they're coming to life. I'm not even going to tell her story because I'm going to let her tell her story, because that's what this show is about, that beast frame of mind. And she's definitely a beast on the horizon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm going to call it like it is because I know what's about to happen. ESPN's own future sideline sports analysis reporter. Hell, might as well be a coach too. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Andre The Beast Crayton Show, Miss Taylor Arenz. What's up, Taylor?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on here.
I figured I'd give you like the boom, the creme de la creme introduction.
You gave me the best intro there could ever be. I appreciate it.
You know, after talking to you yesterday, I mean, you really need more, because what you've accomplished at such a young age is totally crazy. Tell the viewers a little bit about you before we get into your journey.
Yeah, so I went to high school online, kind of unconventional. I decided to go online my sophomore year. That's where my career really started. I was a professional model, so I was already pursuing a career at a young age. And as soon as I finished high school, I went on to college. I started at UNT out in Denton, Texas. I loved it. I was there for a semester, but I was going back and forth from LA to Denton, Texas, and it got too much because I had an agency out in LA. They were sending me emails that I had auditions, so it just got too much. So that second year of my sophomore year my freshman year in college, I moved to LA and lived the life out there. It was great. I did a lot of auditions. I was in commercials. I did magazines. I lived the dance life out there, and I was still doing college online. My lease ran up, so then I went back to Houston, and that week it was auditions for NFL Houston Texans to become a cheerleader. And I was like, you know what, let's go for it. And then I ended up making the team. I stayed in Houston for 4 years. And when I was on the NFL Houston Texans, pursuing cheer, I was also going to school at U of H. I got my undergrad there. And then COVID year, I graduated. I got my undergrad in 3 years. So I just was like, why not stay and get my master's? So I ended up getting my master's, not at U of H. I went to A&M Commerce, and I got my master's in undergrad within 4 years. I also did a ton of internships. I've covered it all. I've done news at Fox 26, ESPN, on the radio. I did play-by-play for baseball, in-game host. I literally have done it all, and it was just a short period of time. And then once I graduated high school, I then went on to move to Arizona. I had an opportunity out here to cheer with the Arizona Cardinals. So I did that. I moved out here, and I got a job with iHeartMedia on the radio station, and it's been great. And I've just really done a lot at such a young age, and it's kind of been a journey, but you know what? I've loved it. So my journey is really hard to follow, but it's been a fun ride.
So let's get deep down into some conversation with this journey. At 24 years old, all of a sudden you decided that you want to do online schooling. Tell me how it was in your family structure. Like, you just didn't decide I want to do online schooling. You was already involved in some pretty much adult programming with events that could have elevated your career at the time. And I assume that's what was happening with your mom putting you in these different organizations. Your career probably elevated a lot quicker than what you expected.
Totally. So when I was in high school, my mom was an online teacher for physical education and health. So she already had a school that I knew of that was online. But back then when I went to high school, it was unheard of to go online. Right. And I remember I lived in Philadelphia at the time, and no one was on board with it. They were like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I was like, you know what? I'm doing what's best for me because I have an opportunity, and I was flying out to St. Louis every weekend doing modeling. And it was a big prestigious company, and I was getting recognition in the dance world, which is so small, but it was making great money. And I knew that's what I had to do for myself. And I knew at a young age that I was able to pursue both school and be able to pursue a career, because usually when you go to a brick and mortar school, it's a lot of like riffraff during the day. You watch movies sometimes, you just eliminate all of the like busy work that you do, and you just get your work done in online school. And I really think that was the best thing for me in that situation. And my parents supported me.
Taylor, how old were you when you made this decision? Because the viewers will be looking at this particular interview and be like, okay, you're just now 24 years old. How were you able to make decisions? Like, what age were you when the decisions came? But people need to understand you didn't, quote unquote, make the decision by yourself. I'm pretty sure you collaborated with your mom and dad and so forth. But how old were you about this time?
I want to say about 15 or 16 is when I made that decision to go online. And it was a big decision, but I've always had an older soul. So I've always been more mature for my age. So I've always been trusted by my parents, and they knew that this was something I wanted to do. So they had 100% trust in me that this is what I needed to do.
When did the one reality click for you that, you know, you says, oh my God, now I see what's going on? That what you call light bulb moment. When did that happen?
I think for me, that light bulb moment, see, I was always a hard worker. Not when it was funny. Like when I was in elementary school, my drive wasn't as where it is now. Like sometimes I would go to like dance competitions and like hide in the bathroom because I didn't want to dance. I just wanted to, I don't know, mess around. But I think it was like my maybe 8th grade or my freshman year of high school is when I all of a sudden like just had this aha moment. And I think it's when I started working for the modeling business. Like I have something special and I was meant to do something great, but the only way I'm going to achieve greatness and get all these things that come my way is if I work hard. So that was the moment that I don't know if it was a certain day, but it was just I know it was like my freshman year of high school that I was like, okay, these opportunities are coming my way at such a young age. I need to capitalize on them. And the only way to do that is work hard, because that's how you get anything in life, is through hard work.
Which one do you like the best through this short, brief, overwhelming part of your career? Do you like the modeling better, or did you like the dance? How did you determine which one was going to take you to that next level?
I think for me, I loved dancing. I think dance was always a passion for me. So when I was a young girl, I always knew that I wanted to be a professional cheerleader, because usually when you are a dancer growing up, your goal is to be a backup dancer for a big time artist, being on tour, whatever it is. It's not usually be an NFL cheerleader. So I always knew that in my mind that I wanted my dance career to take me to the NFL and be able to do dance for sports, because that's where my true passion was. And I think I wanted to pursue dancing more. So that's where my career ended up going. And I was thinking along the lines, like, if I was able to get big through cheer, then I would get recognition and maybe more of the modeling stuff would come. But I always had more of a passion for dancing and cheer. So that's what I ended up pursuing.
Which part of the dancing do you like? My daughter did dancing for many years. Do you like the lyrical? Do you like individual? Do you like the competition part of dancing? How, because clearly you're a unique individual. You like to have your own shine. So you're in dancing, and people that don't know dancing, there's different areas of dancing when, competition wise and so forth. Which part did you specialize in, and which part gave you more, of a challenge that you now look back and go, wow, I wish I had perfected that part of the dance, because now I'm cheerleading?
Right. So for me, I grew up as a studio dancer. So I literally did everything: tap, jazz, ballet, everything, hip hop, ballroom. I did it all. So it was really fun to be able to be so versatile. And what I did big, everything. I did so many dances. I did solos. I did group dances. I always loved solos. That was always nice because you didn't have to worry about anyone else. Like even I never really forgot my dances, but if you happen to forget your dance, you could just do whatever you want and no one would know because you're the only one out there. So I always loved a solo. It was always challenging because they would throw your hardest moves, all your best assets out there, so you would be your best during your solo. And my solos were usually lyrical, and I did some jazz solos, but lyrical is usually where I did my solos. And then I also loved the group dances because I am a team player, and those were always so much fun to dance with a group and be able to be a part of a team. And that's what I was a part of during the NFL. And that's what was preparing me to do NFL cheer, was those group dances, because you have to work together. You have to look the same, but you also have to be kind of your unique self, but also you don't want to stick out way too much because you want to be in unison. And that's exactly what NFL cheer is. So I was so blessed to be able to experience so many kinds of dance that it made me into the dancer that I was today. And I mean, I think the hardest style for me was tap. I mean, I don't need that for NFL cheer, but that was probably the one area that I would struggle with, that I wish I kind of paid attention more, but I still kind of knew what I was doing and I could fake it till I make it. So I just was able to grasp so much at a young age. And I really think all the fundamentals that I learned really helps me in NFL.
When did the cheerleading aspect of your life begin to be of interest? You just didn't become an NFL cheerleader. Now you went from all of these dancing classes, dancing competition, modeling. Now you're pretty much focused on cheerleading. When did the cheerleading part set in? Because you said you went to online school. So how was you even introduced to that part of your life?
Yeah, so I ended up going to UNT my freshman year of college, and I was on the dance team there. So that kind of introduced me to, it was like the teaser of NFL. So that kind of got me like introduced to everything and got me warmed up to it. And then I ended up going to LA, like I said, and did the online thing. But I've always been a bubbly person and interacted with everyone. So I knew dancing for a team wouldn't be a big issue, and it would be a smooth transition. So then when I did try out, I believe I was just finishing my freshman year of college. And when I made Texans my first year, it was a great experience because I think the class of my freshman year, my freshman class for the Texans, there was about 28 rookies and only 6 veterans. So basically the whole team was new. No one really knew what was going on. We were all new. We were all going through it together. So it was a really unique experience because usually that many people are veterans on the team. So that was a really great experience. And I just kind of lucked into that because I don't think if they would have taken that many rookies, I was just at the right place at the right time. So I was really lucky to have so many rookies to be able to just really transition. And I mean, the transition, I've danced my whole life. So it was only 3 days a week we were practicing. So it was really easy for me. And I was always the go-to girl. So I was always the one that people were like, Taylor always knows what she's doing because she knows all the dances. And I think I just had the upper hand because I had all that training and all that experience through dance. And a lot of the other girls had cheerleading backgrounds, and maybe high school dance experience, not like the full-blown dance, like all day experience. So I had just the upper hand there because I had so much experience and I loved what I did, and I was in college. So I had all this time to be involved with all the community events and be on the top. So I think everyone took me for advantage because I always was the go-to girl.
So Taylor, how did they introduce you? You went from cheerleading in college. How did the opportunity actually open up for you to go and try out for the NFL?
Yeah, so the opportunity, the tryouts, the only requirement is that you have to be 18 years old. So I obviously had that requirement, and anyone can try out. It doesn't matter if anything, as long as you're 18 years old, you can try out for the team. And so that I just happened to be in. My lease ran up in LA, so I came back to Houston and I was like, I'm going to get this tryout outfit. I bought one and I just wore it to auditions, and it was crazy because the audition, it was about a 3-day process, and it was insane. I think the audition started in the morning, and
Right.
my rookie season, that first audition, we were there until 3 a.m. in the morning auditioning. I've
Really?
never been to an audition like that. It was absolutely insane. And I just remember I was like, I want this so bad. I will be here till 4 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning because I want this so bad. And I think it was at the end of that audition process when they were about to announce the team that it all really hit me. And I was like, wait, like, I am about to make this team. Like, my life is about to change. I'm about to
Did you
get.
knew right then you was going to make the team?
So I didn't know. Like, I really thought I was going to, but you just never know in this industry. You could have everything and you could just not fit the look, because that's what it is about dance world, NFL cheer world, is that it's very subjective. Like, they could be looking for a certain person, and just because you're great doesn't mean that they'll pick you.
Right.
So you just never know for this process. So I was in the running. There was about 50 of us and they only took 35. So
Right.
I had a really good chance. And I just remember I didn't know, but I had a really good chance.
What did you feel when you walked onto the field? A different type of training now, audition. You're young. What was you more terrified about stepping on there when you first stepped there? You mentioned you had to go up against a lot of veterans. You know, I can get the confidence in you because you're young, but reality is still reality. What was really troubling you when you stepped on that field that you was having doubts about during those moments?
I think the first time I ever stepped on the field, my biggest, like where I always got so nervous, was in the tunnel about to do, because we always did a pregame routine. And in that tunnel, I would just have a moment of like the butterflies swarming through your stomach. I would just get so nervous in that tunnel. We weren't in there for that long, thank goodness, because I would try not to think about everything and overthink everything, but I knew that I had this job and this role and I had to live up to it. So I think I was always more of the calm person on the team. There's a lot of other girls that would get like very high maintenance, like, but I was never like that, I think. But I do remember, like, always, even from my first year to my fourth year or fifth year, I would always get those nerves in the tunnel. But once you got out on the field and I got through that first pregame routine, I'm like, okay, we're smooth sailing. Like, now I just to go out there and enjoy. And I don't think people realize of the amount of time we practice. We practice 3 days a week. I would be at practice from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., maybe 12 p.m. So we put so many hours of practice that I would use those game days to enjoy the moment, because we put so many hours practicing. It was like muscle memory at that point.
When you made the team, you got I'm going to try to wrap your whole career up in 30 minutes. So
Got it.
you basically now made the team, the youngest. What happens then? And then what tell me some of the highlights of your NFL journey real quick. What's some highlights? You're 18 years old, and definitely you walked on there with confidence, because it don't appear like you were shaken by any means. So if coming through the tunnel is your biggest fear, I'm gonna have you on my team all the time.
Right.
Now you made the team. What's the biggest highlight now?
So I would say the biggest highlight, I've had a lot of great things in my career. My first year on the team, we had the opportunity to go on a USO tour. We had to apply for that, and they only took 10 girls to go on the tour. And I was selected. I have a big background with military and Army. I have a lot of people in the military in my family. So I applied for the position and I was able to get it. So I went to Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and Djibouti, Africa. We put on a show. We got to tour the bases. That was the most life-changing experience ever. And I was so blessed for that. So that was my first year.
Wait, why was it life-changing for you? You're 18 years old, traveling abroad. Why was it so life-changing for you at that moment? You would think the fact that you made the NFL cheerleading team is one life-changing moment, but now you're overseas. So from your own experience, what was so life-changing about that brief moment?
Yeah, that experience, I think it was just because we were able to go to these military bases and just make such a big impact. And being able to go overseas and see what they had to experience and just really put yourself in their situation. They were living deja vu every single day. And them seeing us was in their eyes. I can't get over their eyes. Like they lit up when they saw us because their life was the same every day. So just seeing us and being there, our presence, we were making their day so much better. And we had so much fun. We were doing so many activities with these people. And I just think that putting myself in that situation at such a young age, I was able to realize of how blessed we are to have what we have and what it's like to be overseas and be put in these situations. Like I remember we're in Djibouti, Africa, and we met with the head general of the base, and he was like, in the country next door, they're having a full-blown war right now. And we're just
Really?
like, oh my gosh. Like it was just so eye-opening at such a young age. And it just really put my life into perspective. Like I am so lucky for everything I have. And I just was so grateful for everything. And I was so grateful that I was able to share my love for dancing and just share it with these military members and really make an impact on their lives because they had to work really hard in their scenario.
You made the NFL Pro Bowl team. We talked about
Yes.
that. That
Yes.
had to be mind blowing. Let me do it another way. Oh my God! Moment.
Literally.
What was that? What was that like for you? I mean, you're basically achieving every last one of your dreams and more. This has to be overwhelming. Now you're going to the Pro Bowl. So what's that like?
Yeah. Okay. So this was insane. It was my second year on the team. And usually they take fourth years, fifth years, and captains of the team.
Right.
And I remember, so we have a vote. Your teammates vote for you and your coaches vote for you. So we had the big voting day, and then they didn't announce it to our group probably until a couple weeks later. So I had forgotten about it. And the crazy thing is that I was selected to go on another military tour.
Right.
But when they announced it, I was like, they were like, Taylor, I was so shocked. And everyone was like, why are you so shocked? Like, you deserve this. You are everything a Texan cheerleader is. Like, we love you and you're going to do the best job for our squad. So why are you so surprised? I was just so shocked because I was so young. And I mean, I knew I had the talent and I knew I was the go-to girl. And I knew that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into cheer. So I think that I deserve to go, but I just didn't know. Like,
How
it's
did
that
that make
same,
you
like,
feel that these veterans on the Texan football team saw enough in you to bless you with the opportunity to go to a Pro Bowl representing their team?
yeah, it was just one of those moments that like you lost for words because it's another one of those blessed moments. Like, wow, the reason that I was able to get Pro Bowl at 20 years old is because I worked extremely hard. And it was just gratification that even though I wasn't a per se captain on the team at that time, I was still a leader and everyone knew that I made an impact on the team. And it was just clarification that I was doing what I needed to do and just was the best one out there for my team and just the helping hand. And it just made me feel so blessed to be in this situation because I loved cheer and I loved everything about the Texans. So it was just a great opportunity and I was just filled with so much love that my teammates had that belief in me because honestly, I didn't know, but I believed in myself that I could do it once I was given that position and I knew that I was going to excel when I went over to Pro Bowl.
What did you learn from that moment? What was the one impact moment when you got off that plane to the Pro Bowl? What was the one inspiration that you still remember to this day?
Yeah, so to this day, So the whole Pro Bowl experience was life-changing. Everyone from each NFL cheer team went to Pro Bowl, and one person was represented, and it was just amazing. It was like the elite squad because it was the best of the best. And I remember I had so much fun, all the performances, all the community work we got to go to. It was just so life-changing. And then there were two people that were in charge of us. They were one of them, his name is Maria. She's with a group, it's called E2K, but they were essentially our coaches of the week. And I remember that last day at the Pro Bowl dinner, she came up to me and she said, Taylor, she's like, you remind me of my daughter, and I am so proud of you, of what you have done just in a short amount of time. She said, you are going places. I can't tell you the amount of people that came up to me and they were saying, who is this Texans cheerleader? She is amazing. Like, her heart, her performance, she has it all. And I just remember her saying that. I was like, that is probably the highest compliment I can ever receive from a coach, comparing me to her daughter.
Right.
I remember that moment will always stick with me. And that just was another clarification moment that my work is being seen. Like, even though it might feel like it's not being seen, I'm doing everything right and people are noticing.
I tell you who else is noticing, and we shared this. You're also making a major impact on the high school level with your broadcasting journey. Tell me a little bit about that.
The broadcasting journey has been so much fun. I got into high school football actually I think this is my third year working with high school football, and learning, I mean, just now from looking back to where I am now, It's crazy, the transition, because now I'm like the Aaron Andrews of high school football, because I learned so much from that first time I stepped on the field till now, just like the post-game interviews and just everything in general. I've grown so much, and it's been so fun to see the growth, because at one point I was afraid to even go up to the coaches or the athletes after the game. My first year I was on the sidelines, but now I will gladly run up to them and grab them and say, we're doing an interview. So it's just been a confidence booster, and I love sports. So it's been so much fun to be a part of the high school football sidelines and being able to make so many connections, because everyone knows who I am now. And now that I've been working with high school football athletes and coaches for about 3 years now, it's been so much easier to get interviews, and just my confidence is through the roof. And I think it's really helped me a lot.
We shared something during the pre-interview that I thought was really, really touching. We talked about the engagements of a cheerleader, and we talked about sports celebrities and fans when individuals go to these events. And I was sharing my experience. I thought it was like, I would like to see more engagements from both the players and anything. I mean, there are some people that pay an arm and a leg to get those tickets, whether it be baseball, basketball, whatever. And it takes less than a second for somebody to go up to a stand or something and engage with these people. You want to see something different happen like that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think it's the cheerleader in me that I love to interact with fans and all the cheerleaders down there. And it's really unconventional to see a reporter actually be down on the field the entire time. Most people just hang out in the press box. And like you said, they don't want to be seen and just make those little interactions. But that's the moments that you want to be down there for all the close-up actions, and being able to do things with the cheerleaders and the band members and all the fans. Like, I know the cheerleaders and the band members, they work just as hard as the football players to do all the entertainment and get the spirits up of the crowd. So I actually do a lot of my in-game, like, hits. I do them with the cheerleaders. I get the bands involved and the crowd involved. I will actually go up into the stands and immerse myself in the stands, and they just love it. They go like insane when they see a microphone, especially high school athletes. They love when a microphone's around them, because they want the recognition too. Like, I am there because they are there. And I think the reason I love being involved is because I was a cheerleader, and I know how hard it is And I loved being involved. And like I said in the beginning, I like to see the close up interaction. Like not too long ago, I was at a game and the coach, he had the biggest touchdown dance ever. It was the most amazing thing, but I wouldn't have been able to see that up in the press box. And I actually used it in my post game interview. I was like, Coach, that celebration dance, I was like, that was insane. And I just used it, and it makes it more personal because they're able to relax and then give me more of a confident answer because I'm just chatting with them like one-on-one as opposed to just those robot questions. But since I was down there and I saw it, I can make it relatable, and it actually brings out a better answer in those post-game interviews.
I like the way you said it because like I shared with you when I was at the NFL Combines, even though it was a privilege to be there, I really wish that they had it to where the players that visited the Combines, like I said, I told you I tried to text Rich Eyes on his social media, and I'm sitting there looking at this guy like, okay, dude, you can't help but to see me because where I'm sitting at, and I seen people walking on the field with their phones. I'm thinking, why would you invite people to an event of this magnitude?
Right.
For I was there every day, and to really not even engage. You know, like I could have watched this. I could have watched this shit on TV, and got, you know what I mean, and had a popcorn food or whatever. But I like the fact that you saw what I saw. Interact. If you want people to get immersed outside of television, then immerse with them. You know, it's PR, public relations, what I call it.
Totally. And it's like we said in our pre-interview that you never know who you will interact with.
Thank you.
Either if it's on the sidelines, in the crowd, everyone comes into your life for a reason. So being able to make those connections is huge, especially for a broadcaster like me. Like I need to get to know the athletes. I need to get to know everyone on the sidelines, big or small, because if they can help me in any way, that's how you really grow through this industry. So there's no need to shy away from people or even just saying hi. It takes 2 seconds to say hi.
You're going to be the next Aaron Andrews. Who's your favorite female sports broadcaster?
Yeah, I have.
You know what? I'm gonna give you three because if you pick one, somebody's gonna be mad at you.
Right.
Give me three.
I do. I have a lot of influence. Erin Andrews, she's obviously on my list. I love how she's so conversational in her interviews, and that's what I love about her. Clarissa Thompson, she's another great one. She does Thursday Night Football and works with Fox. She's a great host, and she does more of the desk work, but she's another great person to idolize. I also like Samantha Ponder. She's a great one too. So there's a lot of females in the industry.
You didn't mention Hannah Storm?
See, I need everyone. I love all females.
Okay, so before we wrap up, you on a whole different journey as well, and I like it. I've been following your career. My hat's off. You're definitely that beast mindset. I love it. You accomplished a lot at 24. But you on another journey too outside of broadcasting. You launching a brand new podcast. Tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started Sideline Attraction. It is a podcast to get to know athletes beyond the stats. And I started this podcast because I'm a broadcaster, and it's really hard to get a job in this industry. And especially when your biggest feedback is that you don't have experience. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make some experience. I started this podcast about a year ago, maybe a little bit less, but it's been so much fun being able to interview athletes, NFL, MLB, hockey. I've had rugby players, tennis players, fencers. I've had so many different types of athletes. It's been so much fun. And then since I had that experience, I do everything on my own, the editing, the scheduling, the making everything. It's a one-woman show. So I started another podcast with Texas high school football since I had that experience.
Friday Night Lights.
Right, Friday Night Lights. And I interview those about 5 athletes per week and have them on the podcast. They're short little interviews, but they're really great for high school football because it is, if you guys don't know what high school football is in Texas, it's huge. It's sometimes bigger than small colleges.
And I like the way you said something about that too, where you were saying, and it's so crazy how your mind thinks, because you was like, hey, Andre, I want to give these guys a chance to shine, because all of them are not going to make the NFL. A lot of them may not get to go to college. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so a lot of athletes, especially in high school, like that's all they got. And some athletes are really great and they don't get that recognition. No one really knows about them because they don't go to the big schools. They don't
Right.
have that platform where they can really show off what they have. And there's a lot of athletes that are really great and they reach out to me and I'm like, sure, you can come on my podcast. Like, come on. I am gladly help you. You help me and we get the recognition for you, your school. Everyone wins in the situation. So I think being able to really highlight the athletes is
Right.
huge. And that's what's really the thing nowadays. It was especially with NIL,
Right.
everything. Everyone wants to know the athlete. And that's what I do best is getting to know the athlete because that's what everyone wants to know nowadays.
Taylor, man, you are definitely a pot of gold.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much.
Leave the viewers, before we wrap up, leave the viewers with what you live by every day. Because you got to wake up and be like, okay, what is your code to live by?
Oh, I have so many codes.
You can give me,
I'm like
you can give the viewers 2 or 3.
All right, yeah, 3. We can post the whole roll book later. But there's a couple things that so a lot of the big one in my life, I go through phases. The one I'm really going through right now, it's about the journey, not about the destination. Because sometimes I get so caught up in what is that final destination, I don't even enjoy the ride.
Right.
I'm going through the ups, the downs, the twists, the turns, and that's what's going to make that destination so much more rewarding is what I went through. And I think that leads into my next little motto that I live by is that don't be afraid to fail because failure is just redirection. It's just change. And it's how you really respond to that and how are you going to learn and how are you going to grow from that situation? Because I don't think there's anything as failure. It's really about what you do with the failure. You can choose to just dwell on it or you can choose to be a better version of you. And that's how really I've been able to deal with a lot of the no's that come my way, the rejections. And I just take it as, you know what, like, okay, sure, like you reject me, fine, I'm gonna go be better. How can I be better? How can I elevate better? So those are probably the 2 little tidbits that have been a big part of my life right now is that like you just got to enjoy the journey and when you fall you get right back up and failure is just redirection.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode with the one, the only Taylor Arenz on the Andre The Beast Crayton Show.